This is KiniNews and I'm your host Prasad, bringing you today's top stories. Who needs Rizal Mansor if you have Najib Abdul Razak? That's practically what Rosmah told the court today, but the way she said it may make you lose appetite for your Christmas dinner. Rosmah Mansor has refuted the testimony from her alleged former aide, Rizal Mansor, that she ordered him to solicit millions of ringgit in kickbacks. During today's corruption trial linked to the 1.25 billion ringgit solar hybrid energy project in Sarawak, Rosmah rubbish Rizal's oral evidence that she asked him to obtain 5 million ringgit and 1.5 million ringgit in bribes. She testified that if she wanted bribes, she would have asked her husband, Najib Abdul Razak, to do so rather than rely on others. Rizal previously testified that he had collected the bribes for her to ensure the contract for the project was awarded to the company Jepak Holdings Sendirian Berhad. However, Rosmah told the court that she had no reason to rely on Rizal as she sleeps with her husband Najib. She could have told him to do it. The accused further claimed that Rizal was in conspiracy with the Attorney General's chambers to implicate her in the court case. The floods have shown how resourceful and helpful Malaysians are, some travelling from far away to help those in need. But the tragedy, the full scale of the tragedy, is still being known as the death toll continues to rise. Days after several parts of the country were ravaged by flash floods, the full aftermath is still being uncovered. Inspector General of Police Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said today that 41 people have lost their lives, with 8 still missing. He said Selangor recorded the highest number of deaths, totaling 25, followed by Pahang, 15 and 1 in Kelantan. The fatalities in Selangor comprised 17 men and 8 women, while in Pahang the victims were 8 men, 5 women and 2 boys. In Kelantan, it involved 1 man. The missing persons report in Pahang involved 7 men and 1 boy. Malaysia has a National Disaster Management Agency, but after the floods and the government response, many Malaysians have questioned what's its function. But the minister in charge says it's no time for pointing fingers. Abdul Latif Ahmad, who heads the National Disaster Management Agency, or NADMA, has been asked to step down following the government's poor rescue response to the flood disaster last weekend. However, the Special Functions Minister questioned whether his resignation or even the dissolution of NADMA would be able to resolve anything. He said though he was willing to resign, that on its own would not be the solution. Speaking to Sina Harian, he said if his critics want to ask for his resignation, the country would be changing prime ministers every 3 months. Major flash floods struck various parts of the country last weekend, displacing thousands of people in several states. Many residents were also trapped on rooftops overnight without food and electricity. The federal and state governments have since faced criticism over their poor rescue response. Instead, volunteer rescuers were among the first on the scene in several areas. It may be days already since the floods turned thousands of lives upside down, but for the people in Bentong and many other places, life is far from back to normal.
MB datang, tapi dia tak turun, dia dalam kereta je.
This is the aftermath of the flood in Bentong, Pahang. About 100 houses here are still covered in mud, while drains are still clogged. Water and electricity supplies have yet to fully resume. Residents here complained that although the Menteri Besar of Pahang, Wan Rosdi, had passed by their housing estate, he only waved to them from his car.
Kerajaan malam datang tengok, tak turun pun. Tak turun? Tak turun pun. Dia itu hutan tak.
Siapa yang datang?
Ramai pada Kuantan. MB datang, tapi dia tak turun, dia dalam kereta je.
Tapi tak ada bantuan
gitu je.
Tak ada bantuan tak?
Tak ada, belum lagi.
The flood water has receded for more than 5 days here, but most of the residents could not live in their houses. Without electricity supply and manpower, they are facing difficulties cleaning their homes or removing all their destroyed furniture and belongings. Some residents also plead for monetary relief aid as soon as possible so they can get back on their own feet.
Itu longkang sumbat. Apabila longkang sumbat, patutnya alam flora boleh datang korek. Ini apabila alam flora tak korek, air tak boleh nak keluar dari rumah. Tengok longkang semua sumbat. Jadi kita 4 hari sudah cuci pun tak guna sebab air tetap naik balik. Lumpur pun tetap naik balik. Macam mana nak buat?
Yang longkang sekarang apa tersumbat. Jadi kita perlukan kalau boleh minta bomba lah datang untuk tembak kan longkang sebab susah untuk kemas. Sebab semua kalau boleh dikatakan barang semua jadi barang debris lah, dia dah hancur. Nanti dia semua barang-barang perabot lah yang hancur. Jadi kita memang perlukan tu lah, duit lah. Duit memang sangat kita perlukan. Kalau boleh manpower. Minta manpower lah. Mana-mana NGO ke ataupun yalah pihak-pihak kerajaan kan, dia ada bekalkan manpower. Kalau boleh hantarlah bantu semasa banjir untuk kerja-kerja mengemas.
Sekarang ada siapa datang untuk bantuan ke? Untuk manpower atau
Setakat ni memang tak ada. Setakat ni semua ahli keluarga yang tolong. Jadi mana-mana rumah yang tak ada ahli keluarga, dia orang kemas sendiri lah.
没有睡觉，我们当天正水到天亮，我们做了一天都没有吃到东西，就讲现在那个女儿要上大学了，现在还没有开学，1月开学，好像现在她一个人这样年轻，还要顾着我们2个老的，其他的那个大的全部就回不到家来，我想到我心头很寒，我要坚强不哭都不可以，我人的我天呐，我人很多天的。 不过我现在是很辛苦了，我很累。
About a dozen volunteers are also seen on the spot helping local residents clean their houses.
Buat masa ni bantuan makanan, alhamdulillah lah kami bersyukur dengan Tuhan, dengan orang-orang yang memberi bantuan, yang menolong macam orang yang ambil sampah ni walaupun orang tak bergaji, diorang tolong juga orang-orang kat taman macam ni. Itu kita bersyukurlah setakat peralatan ni lah, macam longkang-longkang yang tersumbat ni tak boleh nak buat apa lah, kena tunggu diorang uruskan lah.
I don't know whether this is an anarchy country or a government country because we can clearly see there are more rakyat here, not government. So I don't know what can I say. What can I advise to the government? Please look here, look in Pahang. Because people in Pahang really need their help. They really need their help.
We came here because we want to help our teacher from KTV tomorrow. Because our other teacher told us our teacher need to help this.
How many students are here for today?
About 23 people.
Now we have a message from our sponsor. When we're back, more from Rosmah's court case today.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Rosmah Mansor told the court today that the First Lady of Malaysia title was used by many others before her. Rosmah Mansor testified that she was not the first wife of a Prime Minister to use the First Lady of Malaysia title. During today's trial of a corruption case linked to Sarawak Solar Hybrid Energy Project, Rosmah described the claim that she was the first to use the title as untrue and defamatory. Rosmah testified that the Malaysia branch of the Royal Asiatic Society described Raha Muhammad Noor, the late mother of Najib Abdul Razak, as First Lady of Malaysia. Rosmah also referred to several other publications that describe Siti Hasmah Muhammad Ali and Endon Mahmud Ambak, the wife and late wife of former premiers Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and Abdullah Ahmad Badawi as being described as First Ladies of Malaysia. The prosecution had in previous proceedings brought witnesses to testify on the First Lady of Malaysia division being established in the Prime Minister's department during Najib's tenure as Prime Minister. The court previously heard that the division was tasked with planning and coordinating the official functions that needed to be attended by Rosmah, among other duties. The prosecution had previously implied that Rosmah was the first wife of a premier to label herself as First Lady of Malaysia. Schools will not be back in session during the first week of January due to the recent floods. The reopening of government schools for the third semester will be postponed by a week in January. Education Minister Razzie Jidin said schools located in Group A states will start their third semester for the 2021-2022 session on January 9th. Schools located in Group B states will reopen on January 10th. The decision was made after the Education Ministry considered the situation that many parents, students and teachers are facing due to the flooding in many states. Group A states are those which start their week on Sunday, namely Johor, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu, while the other states that start their week on Monday will fall under Group B. According to Razzie, the postponement is also meant to give more time for those affected by the flood to prepare for the schooling session. Nothing says I'm here to help flood victims like wearing high heels, but the minister being criticised for it has an excuse for the fancy footwear. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Rina Muhammad Harun said how she was dressed when visiting a flood relief centre on Jalan Kelang Lama on Sunday should not have been made an issue. Rina said she went there in high heels because she had earlier attended an event at MyTech in Kuala Lumpur. She said she left the event immediately after Muhyiddin Yassin had delivered his speech. She said she changed her baju kurung to pants and blouse, but in the rush did not have time to change her shoes. The minister said what is important was her presence at the location to ensure the welfare of flood victims were taken care of. Rina also said campaigns like Do Not Donate Here, which discourage the people from donating to disaster relief funds organised by the government, are inappropriate as the country is now dealing with a disaster. The Do Not Donate Here campaign is now trending on social media after many expressed their disagreement with the government collecting donations from the public to be channeled to flood victims. PKR wants the flood situation to be debated in Parliament with a focus on protecting the environment. PKR has called on the government to convene a special Parliament sitting to address the causes of the recent flash floods. In a statement, Party Secretary-General Saifuddin Nasution said the unrelenting rain followed by landslides and major floods is a reminder that climate change is real. He added that looking at the flowing mud, it is evidence that hills are being eroded and rivers becoming shallower, all due to human activity that will court disaster. In light of these developments, he said the government, private sector and NGOs must be more serious in implementing the principles of environmental social governance. Saifuddin said Malaysia must not fall behind and Parliament must immediately look into all laws related to the environment in the interests of Keluarga Malaysia. He also noted that the poor coordination had led to poor disaster response. The Dewan Rakyat sitting had adjourned on Monday without a debate on the floods that displaced thousands of Malaysians. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. And if you want to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.
Everyone wants to see these scenes bigger. That's why we've got bigger TVs for everyone to enjoy them bigger. Watch colors come to life on a large screen. LG NanoCell.